You want the deal? Peace to the gods, peace to the earths. This man, King Louis Allah, coming to you on this, what is this, Equality Day of October. My understanding plus your understanding equals equality. You see what I'm saying, I see what you're saying. It's 3 plus 3 is 6. My understanding is 3 plus your understanding is 3 equals equality. I want to talk about a couple things, man. Some people wanted me to build some more about, me growing up, right? And about, people getting shot. Like, people don't believe, I grew up around that shit, and this in the 80s shit, right? The first person I know got, I'm talking about, and so the first person I know who got shot was I think it was, I don't know if it was Marcus or Roy. Marcus is my cousin's husband, who I know before they got married. One of my cousins, she had a family of 8 siblings, the Jacksons. And they stayed off Dexter, right? Marcus and her, and I can't remember if it was Marcus or Roy. Damn, it's fucked up. Maybe they got shot around the same time. I don't know, man, but damn. I really, truly can't remember who got shot first, Marcus or Roy. But it was both in the 80s, right? Marcus, I've been knowing Marcus, like I said before they got married. He used to court my cousin that I saw every Sunday. He would stop by after church to their house and, stand there and be searched and kick it with her family. That was my mama, one of my mother's oldest sisters / cousins, right? That, she would go after church, stop by and just check in, And so I've been knowing dude a long time, man, and but man, and so, they both of them college educated. They both college graduates. I don't know the year they graduated, and they older. They like almost 10 years older than me. Probably almost 10 years older than me, right? And so Marcus got a job. I think Marcus, to my knowledge, one of Marcus's first job was at Foot Locker. And he worked at the Foot Locker on Oakman and Grand River, between Oakman and the 96 freeway, the Jeffries. It used to be a Foot Locker. Going towards the Jeffries, it's on the left side of the street. It was a rough area then, and it's more rougher today. And Foot Locker is no longer there, but they moved closer down Grand River this way. But and so I don't know his status then at Foot Locker. I don't know if he was a manager or an assistant manager, right? But somebody, and so he had got my cousin Angie brother a job there. He older than me too, about 6 years older than me, somewhere around. It could be older than that, right? A family of 8, like I said. And And so somebody robbed the joint, right? I don't know what they took, but they wind up shooting him, right? He had to go to the hospital, and some executives from Foot Locker came to visit him in the hospital, right? Years later, I think Marcus stayed with Foot Locker over 20 years, right? Years later, he got a promotion years later, and he became regional manager of the Eastern Seaboard. That's what they called it, regional manager. So he had territory, right? He was in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and some other East Coast places. And one day in 2006, 2007, I think it was 2005, I got the news in 06, 07. They told me he was going in to one of his Foot Locker stores, and somebody went in behind him with a gun to his head and robbed the place, right? Eddie Van Halen just died. So, robbed the place, right? And I said, so he started asking us, his wife's side of the family, not to, and so he stayed on, and he wanted another promotion. He was saying how they promote more white people than they do black people. I said, well, maybe them white people got higher degrees like MBAs and more qualifications, more work experience than you do, right? More managerial work experience than you do. I said, why don't you get a MBA? He said, I ain't getting no MBA, and fuck all that shit. Fuck Foot Locker. He was, I guess, about through with them, right? So Marcus always been kind of arrogant, right? He always been kind of condescending, kind of, just unhappy, right? Mad that he I guess I'm assume wind up in positions instead of doing what he want to do, right? That's the vibe I get from Marcus, but certain people think he the man because he a manager at somebody else's store and not a real boss of his own shit. You understand? So Marcus, and so I'm like, so my mother, so it was some deaths on his side of his family. My mother said, reach out to them, give them some sympathy, kind words, and this, that, and the third, So I was like, all right, so, and so this 2006, 2007. And then but my experience with him is Marcus kind of stuck up. He kind of arrogant, right? He Marcus 6'3", 6'4", 260, 270. You know what I'm saying? His weight go up and down. And but he kind of arrogant, right? He think people ought to kiss his ass and suck his dick because of the position that this company put him in, right? And so he started fucking with me for whatever reason. Like, what you doing, Lewis, right? Minding my business, nigga, right? And so I started to search Marcus, right? Marcus got a side that make you want to hit him, right? And I'm like, motherfucker, so I start looking into, the first shooting, right? And so they told me they made everybody get out on the floor. This is at the first Foot Locker on Oakland. They made everybody get out on the floor on Grand River. They made everybody get out on the floor. And I don't know if he got out on the floor, but they shot him 3 times. I said, they shot you 3 times. They didn't shoot you once and run out the door. They took the time to put 3 in you. I say that's saying something about, who you is and how you rub people, right? And then, somebody put a gun to your head at a store that I don't know if they knew he was coming there or not, right? Now, if somebody knew he was coming there that day, because remember, he got multiple territories, so he could have been in any Foot Locker in that city or another state, right? But it just so happened this day that 20 years later, somebody putting a gun to your head at a store that you may randomly supposed to be at. And so it come to, Marcus can't manage. Marcus not a good manager, you know what I'm saying? And so I can't dig no deeper because, you know what I'm saying? Somebody probably fed up with dude. Fed up with him like that. So, they put 3 and was going to kill him 20 years later at another Foot Locker. That's, you ought to look at who you is and how you talk to people and treat people that you're on the job with. They don't work for you. They work for the company. You know what I'm saying? People don't leave companies. They leave managers. They leave bad managers, right? And they don't want to deal with bad other employees, other bad personnel, slow, dumb, toxic, negative people. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I say you need to think about, it could have been an inside job. They took the time to put 3 in you. So I'm thinking to myself, what you didn't lay down? What you told them they can't have the shoes or the money? You know what I'm saying? And then 20 years, somebody put a gun in your head at the same store. You can't manage. So now he's the manager at Foot Locker. Sam Club, right? He's a store manager at Sam Club, and he be talking shit out loud. I don't like tattoos and all that. And so I went on. And so I don't fuck with Walmart, Sam. I ain't looking for no job. Never. I don't fuck with them, right? And so I'm thinking, Marcus up there 6 figures. He a store manager, right? He don't even make 6 figures to manage Sam Club. What kind of shit is that? Like, you can just be at 80, 75, right? So I went online and I filed, I wrote a complaint, and I said this, the manager here disrespecting people with tattoos. You see what I'm saying? Now this one, Sam Club had a black female CEO, right? And, they checked their comments and shit. But, he ain't funny to me, man. I don't want to play with Marcus. Never did, And I say, so back in the day, I said, so why we can't get a job at Foot Locker? And I would have took a job at Foot Locker. He get scared. He's like, no, they'll kill us. They'll kill you. They're coming in and rob you. He just, I ain't think he was scaring people off that, So, but yeah, man, he got shot. And it's the 80s, man. 80s. And then my mother's husband got shot. And they 86, 85, 86, 85, between 85 and 87, I think. I can't remember. 85, 86. I don't know. I can't remember if I just started Mumford or was in the 8th grade or somewhere, 8th or 9th grade, he got shot. Right? He had just got off work and he had stopped by my mother's house. And And, she asked him, did he want to stay for dinner? She said, no. He got to get home. And so he went home. And somebody was in his house. 2 dudes was in his house. And one dude come out, they say he was going up the stairs. One dude come out, he started fighting that dude. The other dude come out and shot him. I don't know, 3-4 times, right? He called 911, he called his mother, and then he called my mother. I answered the phone about 15 minutes, 10 minutes later. And he was like, hey, somebody said, let me speak to your mother. I couldn't tell the voice. I guess he was in pain. She jumped up and said, oh my God, we got it, and hung on the phone, and we got to go to Roy house, get the bat. I was like, what happens? Roy got shot. I said, what a bat gonna do? I ain't going. She said, come on, get the bat, get in the car. We had that red Caravans. I'm like, man, I don't want to go over there. You know what I'm saying? And so when we get there, the police there, and his mother, and the paramedics and shit, he stayed around the corner from the hospital, so, it wasn't too far of a ride, but, yeah, man, and so, they shot him, left him for dead. They was concerned what kind of gun it was, because he had some guns in the house, and he thought they got to his guns, and use his gun. They had their own guns, and I don't think them dudes ever been caught. And he was getting robbed repeatedly, and he don't live in a bad area, and he was getting robbed a lot. And his father said, you need to pack your gun with you, but he didn't listen. And he went in, tried to fight him, and they shot him, man. They shot him 3-4 times. And just going to the hospital with my mother to see the nigga. He had a bullet in his neck, and he was laid up for a long time, and a bullet, and they had to wait till the bullets come to the surface of the skin to cut him out. You know what I'm saying? So that motherfucker got shot for real. And then my mother's nephew, my mother's cousin, son, got shot in 2010. He got shot in 2010. Dumb motherfucker, right? He a year older than I. I've been known to do it a long time. He got shot. He grew up kind of sheltered, right? He grew up downtown, city high-rise living, townhomes, Indian Village and shit, right? And so he ain't, he not acclimated to the northwest and west side of Detroit. To the neighborhood, right? So his grandfather left him some property on off Grand River and Joy Road. And, I guess he was supposed to manage that property or whatever, collect rent, manage it, whatever. And so he started. Now, he grew up Lafayette Towers since the 80s, 70s, 80s. He was Lafayette Towers, and 80s, and Lafayette Towers, and they had a doorman in the 80s, and then they moved from a doorman to video, televideo. You call up into the and you turn your TV to the front door to see who's at your door, right? And you buzz them in. So this how he grew up, right? So, man, and so he moved over there. He moved out of there into a 2-family flat. And I heard he started selling some weed, and some dudes told him don't sell weed over here. Now I ain't saying it was them, I don't know. Then he was messing with, some young ladies he found online and shit. And you know, um and so the story I get, he was in the house with a young lady, and he say somebody knocked on his. Now he live upstairs. Now the 2-family flat, I think, got 2 doors, right? One you go in like an entry, and you walk up, and then you knock on another entry door, and then one is the first floor that you go in, and then you're on the first floor, right? And he said somebody knocked on his door to his unit. So that mean they had to come. So that mean the front door was unlocked, where they was able to get in and knock on his door. And he said somebody knocked on his door and put a gun in his face. And he slammed the door and said, "Come on, bitch, we got to go. They got a gun." And he ran out the back stairs, and she went out the front, past the nigga with the gun. So they saying maybe she knew the niggas, right? This was the story I got, right? I don't give a fuck. The nigga ain't shit. And so he run out the back, run to the front, and she talking to some other dude, right? And they said, "Hey, you need some help? Somebody trying to get you?" He said, "Yeah." So he said they start walking back to the house. The dude grabbed a crowbar, and him, the girl, and some other dude he don't know, he say, start walking back to the house. And the dude with the crowbar turned on him. He say he started fighting the dude. He went down. The dude beat him with a crowbar, broke his nose. The fork part of the crowbar knocked his eye out his head. And the dude that was in the house come out and shot him in the leg, and they ran off, he said. I don't know what happened with the girl. I don't know now I didn't hear a story. The girl stayed, or maybe she ran for her life, or but he and so he said he had his phone on him, and he called somebody come pick him up, took him to the hospital. When he got to the hospital, he didn't know he was shot. It was a pin-like hole in his jogging pants or sweatpants or something. His place is all bloody. And he was fucked up the next day. My mother called me crying, talking about he got shot. And I'm like, "Well, is he dead?" She said, "No, his whole head was bandaged with his, where he lost his eye. And they left the bullet in there because it was in the leg and shit." Right. And I'm like, man, so, but I'm like, my thing is, you ain't let nobody in, or somebody knocking on your inner door, and you ain't alarmed in. You doing something you ain't supposed to be. So I don't think he's telling a complete story, or a true and complete story, and that's his business. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get in that dude's business because it ain't my business, and I really don't give a fuck, right? So, man, he got shot, right? And he was laid up, and he had to do, and so his nose, his bones in his nose were broken, and he had to go for multiple surgeries in his nose to breathe right, and he got fitted for a glass eye. Now he got a glass eye. And so I'm like, man, so, they put my name in it because he owed me some money. And, I come home and, 2010, I come off the road. And, he never paid me. And, he got a life insurance policy when his aunt died, and he still never paid me. And they think that I sent some goons. I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? He know who shot him. He know why. You know what I'm saying? And so he ain't tripping. And his mama got mad because I said, I don't give a fuck. I've been knowing dude. Like I said, that's my mama's second cousin. And I've been knowing dude, a long time. And I told her I don't give a fuck because he jerked me on my money. So I really don't give a. Don't say when he was getting checks, y'all wasn't saying Louis' name. What you saying that now he laid up in the hospital? You see what I'm saying? So man, I really ain't give a fuck, right? And his mama say she gonna get somebody to get me. I say, come on if you coming. Somebody got to die. You know what I'm talking about? So, I don't play that shit. I ain't done none of them motherfuckers. But I'm not that man's security. I told my mother a long time ago that dude living foul. He an addict. You know what I'm saying? And, he don't know how to act. He not careful with people and people money. And he in an environment which he ain't familiar with. He don't know the lay of the land on the west and northwest side of Detroit. You see what I'm saying? So, he got seen about. And I told him they'd do it. You better be careful. They'll do it. So and he said, look, what you saying my name for? When money was being handed out, you weren't saying my name. I'm not that man's security, protection, bodyguard, or nothing. You know what I'm saying? That ain't none of my business. And he ain't even telling you the truth. You see what I'm saying? So that ain't my business. So he got shot, right? And I know a couple more people in high school that, got shot. See what I'm saying? When I was in high school, some classmates of mine got shot. I was in actual class with, got shot on the way home at a picnic. It's crazy. And it was like they was innocent bystanders, and they got shot just being outside and shit. So I'm familiar with that kind of gun violence. You know what I'm talking about? Where I don't even play that shit. I don't even play that shit. So I don't be out here flossing and tossing for no reason. It don't make no sense to be fresh to death. You ain't got to be no bum, but it don't make no sense to be fresh to death to go to the grocery store. That's ridiculous. Nowhere, in no suburb, no hood. Why you got to act like you gonna take the stage somewhere? That's ridiculous. You got people out here, that's ridiculous. So, man, hold on. So now I'm gonna talk about snitching and how this tie in, right? So if he was truly an innocent victim, he would have been more disgusted like I still am today. Like someone ain't invite that into their life, right? He would have been working with the police, drawing composites, and more active in getting some justice. Somebody running your home, flush out your home, and beat you and pop you, and you ain't mad. You want to be a vigilante or nothing. You ain't trying to call a family meeting and get some guns and go after motherfuckers. And you can't chill in your own home. So, that ain't my business. I really don't give a fuck. But, I'm a transcend. So, people been talking about Big Gene Deal, the Gene Deal show. He's snitching. I don't think, my opinion, Gene's snitching. He tell in the beginning, like when he first started the show, he asked, the people that he need to ask, what they thought of him speaking on these such things. And they said, all right, Gene, if you got to do it, do it. They gave him a green light. They gave him they blessing. And so you got people, California, saying Gene snitching because he identifying, the Muslim-looking brother. Well, Gene with Big, son Big became a victim. He on Big's side. What he look like not saying nothing. What he look like not trying to get some justice for somebody he rolling with. You see what I'm saying? That ain't foul. That's foul if you think that man a snitch for still addressing and questioning and airing out and bringing attention to Big's unsolved death, unsolved shooting. And, now they come to say Big was shot 4 times. That's ridiculous. Somebody tried to kill Big, right? And so, he a security, he a New York law enforcement. He considered state law enforcement by being a state parole officer. And, he working security for Big, bad boy. And so you got death row people calling him a snitch for telling what he knew and saw. That's ridiculous. He's supposed to. So that ain't snitching. For real, that ain't snitching. And then you got some people calling T.I. a snitch. From back in the day, when T.I. took the stand against some dudes that shot up his tour bus. But on his tour bus, they say was one of his best friends who got killed. And this in Cincinnati, I think. Cincinnati. They got, when they shot up the tour bus, one of his best friend, Fallon, got killed, right? And so Fallon's parents, his friend's parents, asked him just to take the stand, get some justice. I think the dude's still doing time for that. That ain't snitching. You see what I'm saying? They performing at a nightclub after party or something, and some words were said, and next thing you know, they getting shot at. You know what I'm saying? Now, man, how rap crews can be versus crews in the street in they city, and who knows, but they shot up the bus and somebody lost their life on T.I.'s side. Of course T.I. wanted to handle that, right? You know what I'm saying? Some people say that's why he was getting silencers, right? And, he went to jail for that. But, I don't think that's snitching when you take the stand and tell what happened when your homeboy died. They had to go back to Georgia and tell that man's family that, he died on a road trip with T.I. because they mouthing off in a club to people they don't know. You see? So, man, I think that's, that ain't snitching. And so, little police. That ain't snitching. So, it's, my opinion, them men I talked about, was fucked up, right? That somebody break your house, you ain't attempt to run. Like, that could have been an ambush to hit on the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Roy used to, put my father name in that shit. My father, I ain't finna kill you about Rose. He used to put my name in this. I was too. I wasn't that young, but I wasn't. How I do it. I passed you on the way home and broke in. So he would hurl all kind of accusations at my father and myself. But that's you're fucked up and so now he even more fucked up. I can't stand to be around him. Same with Marcus, same with my mother's cousin's son. I can't date. And, some of that is PTSD, and I don't think they've been treated. Post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They reserve that word for soldiers, military men, and women, but it's post-traumatic stress disorder can affect anybody. It affects anybody that has been through a traumatic event. And so they PTSD has, to my knowledge, never been dealt with through therapy, and they fucked up. They very moody ass people, and that's like outrage turn inward causes depression. And so, they very moody, very agitated. They don't, what I'm saying? And I understand, but I'm not going to be somebody you try to deal with, handle, or talk to like, like I ain't shit or like you feel like it. That ain't, because I ain't done nothing to you. And I'm well aware that I ain't done nothing to you. You see? So, and I'm well aware what happened to you. And if you in your mood, this is why, because you never dealt with your post-traumatic stress disorder. You see? So, that's where I am with that, right? If I could, I would have added the music, Big's music, WhoShotYa, right? Now, I didn't clown some people for getting shot. But I think when people shoot you, they through playing with you, right? I think when people shoot you, especially repeatedly, they trying to kill. I think they through with you. They through dealing with you. Like if you owe them some money, if you got beef with them, if they want to rob you and they shoot you, I think they really through playing with you. To get shot. And so for my mama little cousin, got shot in the leg, I think, they put some tools on him, a crowbar and a gun. Some tools, they tuned him up. And so he was doing something he should have done. I think he owed somebody some money. And they put some tools on him. I told his mama, I say, well, you lucky they didn't aim the gun at his head. You getting all you gonna get revenge. What the fuck for? They have answered. You see what I'm saying? So, but when people shoot you in beef, they in the street, they really through playing with you. And so I learned a long time ago, I got to be careful. Everybody got to be careful, because people out here got, got hair trigger tempers. Right? You cut them off, you look at them wrong in the store, you bump them. They jealous of what you got on in the liquor store. You liable to get shot in the D. In California, it's about colors and sets. Around here, you got some Cartiers on, fake Cartiers, what they call buffs. You got somebody want. And they pack and they might shoot you. So, that's how it is, man. I don't be out here flossing and tossing for no reason. That's ridiculous to get dressed up, to go to the mall, to go to the movie. I mean, if you're going on a date or something, you dressed to impress. But to go to the grocery store to run some errands, you got to be stage fresh, video fresh. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I don't suffer from low self-esteem. I know what I got, right? So, that's my thoughts on shootings and getting shot. I wanted to talk about Kamala Harris and Obama and what the fuck they want with Tupac, right? Tupac died in 96, 95, 96, I don't know. He died in the 90s. The middle to late 90s, Tupac was shot in Las Vegas and subsequently succumbed to his wounds, right? He died in, Cedar Sinai in Las Vegas, Nevada, a suburb of Las Vegas. Man, the hood so active, man, it's just a 70 Monte Carlo just stopped at the light, and a Charger 392 stopped at, the stop sign. It was peeling off. I wish I had the camera. I'm thinking in the Fast and Furious and shit. I'm talking about the hood hot, stay hot and shit, right? So, so he died, right? And the Democrat, and so Obama, when he was running for president, when he was running for president, he was cracking jokes about Tupac, right? Like, Tupac this, Tupac that, and this, that, and the third. Now Kamala Harris, somebody asked her who's her favorite rapper. Y'all can look this up. She said, I don't know what the fuck wrong with these motherfuckers. She said Tupac is the greatest rapper alive. That's what she said. I'm drinking coffee. That's what she said. Tupac is the greatest rapper alive. Tupac been dead since the 90s, baby. What you talking about? And it sure enough ain't Gay Z. You see what I'm saying? So, what do the Democrats want with Tupac? I don't know. But, I think Kamala Harris saying that is like Hillary Clinton dancing and shit. See what I'm saying? Trying to do whatever she was trying to do. Right? I think it's, it's disrespectful. It's insulting. This day way of saying she hip. When she say Tupac the greatest rapper alive. You see, I think that's disrespectful. She ain't done her homework. And she trying to use this man named like Obama, and Obama should have known he dead. Her too, because she from California, right? And so, I don't know what that's about, man, but it's disrespectful. Tupac, you pulling out all the stops trying to get attention and votes. Won't let people know you down with Tupac, but if you really knew the real Tupac, you wouldn't want to say his name. You wouldn't want to use him to generate a buzz like you hip. See what I'm saying? So, man, I don't know, man. Maybe she think he like biracial women. Because, he used to kick it with Kidada Jones, Quincy Jones' daughter is biracial. Maybe You know, Kamala wants some thug passion or something. You see what I'm saying? I mean, really, the greatest rapper alive, and that ain't true. He ain't the greatest rapper alive or dead. His ill deeds before he died, you know, being convicted of a degree of rape and being intricate and lying on Biggie to get him shot in California is gonna keep an asterisk by Tupac's name, right? So, you know, man. And last but not least, I'm gonna touch on universal healthcare, man. You know, Obama. You know, y'all got to watch them dudes, man. Them Democrats are snakes, man. You know. Obama could have took office and said healthcare for everybody, right? You know, it's like if I'm still telling y'all to go watch Sicko, SICKO, Michael Moore's documentary on universal healthcare. Universal healthcare is government-funded healthcare, single-payer healthcare, which is the government. Obama did not agree with that, still did not agree with that. You know, like I heard somebody ask him, you know, would he have passed a stimulus package to pay us them $1,200 and federal fund? He said no. Joe Biden said no. Right? You know, they don't want us to have no money. They don't want us to have no money. Mandatory health care takes money out of your pocket. By law, you're supposed to have health care. Obama went to the Supreme Court to get that bill passed. Mandated health care is mandatory. If you don't have it, you're in violation of the law. They penalize you when you file your taxes and you say you don't have health care. They penalize you for that. It might reduce or take your refund if you are getting one, or it might raise what you owe if you owe. So, you know, you are penalized for not having health care. And versus universal health care, if the government paid universal health care, that would leave more money in our pockets where we could stimulate our own economies, stimulate our own communities, have more for retirement, raise wages. You know, the UAW, which is Chrysler, Ford, GM, and all their suppliers that's in the union, the United Auto Workers, from what I understand, heard through the news, that they have to keep $30 billion on hand for healthcare costs, right? And if the government moved to that, they wouldn't the factories when he was in office would not have needed a bailout, and they could have raised wages with that money, knowing that healthcare was going to be paid by the government. See, when you raise wages, you see, it's been jobs I ain't never had my healthcare paid for, and Obama believes that employers should pay healthcare, right? Man, he can't tell nobody what to pay. And if they did pay healthcare, say I make $1,200, I don't make $1,200 a week, but if I did, right, or $1,000 a week, and I know for a fact, you know, healthcare is like $240 a month for a single individual. If I put a family on there, a wife and some babies, you know, or add another person, it go up to $350, and it could go more than that depending on, what you get, right? What you add on, dental, vision, nationwide, coverage, you know what I'm saying? And so, if I make $1,200, that's $240 automatically off the top, right? That's $60 a week that come out. So that leave me with like $1140, and then you got city taxes come out about $50. So that's $1,100. Then you got state taxes, that's about $60, $70. So we had $1,000. Then you got federal taxes come out. So we had like $900. And the union people got to pay dues. So now you at about $800 take home. So $400 is ate up through healthcare and taxes. So just imagine if we didn't have to pay healthcare. That $200 a month go a long way. That $240 a month go a long way if you paying your own healthcare. It go a long way. And I ain't never been treated that good and had benefits paid for me. You know, I always had deductions. You know, so I could be a contractor and say I sign up for health care and it's deducted. So I never had my health care paid for. You know what I'm saying? That when I needed it, right? Now I may have had a job in the 90s working at a bank or something. Midnight shift, maybe they paid it, I can't remember. But, you know, man, that's, no. So, you know, putting more money in Americans' pockets is what we need. You know, California just passed reparations bill. Who knows? But, you know, that $1,200 for paying your taxes and, you know, for being a COVID, for being affected by, for being in America while it was COVID going on, they paid if you paid your taxes. You know, that was a stimulus bill. That was all. Now they saying Donald Trump gonna hold off to after the election to pay to talk about another stimulus package, right? Right? And so, you know, but they ain't about that, man. You need to, you know, if we gonna vote for these dudes, we need to stop being scared and learn what reparations and I bet you Joe Biden ain't about reparations or universal health care. And so if I'm about that, and that's gonna put more money in my pocket and take care of my health and the health of my family, why wouldn't I want more money and to be healthy? Vote for Joe Biden for what? Vote for Biden and Harris for what if they not about that? I would be a political chump if I voted for them and they ain't about nothing I'm about. And that's what I'm about. More money in my pocket and to have a decent quality of life, you know, through health care and financial resources. See what I'm saying? So they ain't about that. You know, and if you ain't about that, they better than Trump. Get the fuck out of here. How so? So they ain't about that. They don't get my vote. And I'd rather Trump stay up in that motherfucker. He didn't send me a check $200. He can send me another one real life. Why you bullshitting? So that's all I'm saying, man. Peace to the gods, peace to the earth. I'm out. Peace. Wake up.